Hey, Walter Sorrells back with more tips for the knife maker. Today, rehabbing a box for an old measuring tool. So in order to make high quality knives, it really helps to have high quality measuring tools. Now, problem is those don't come cheap. So personally, I like buying used measuring tools on eBay. Often I can find, pretty good deals on tools that I really don't use all that often and wouldn't necessarily buy new, but that come in handy on occasion. LS Starrett, the manufacturer of this little depth micrometer right here, is one of the world's premier measuring tool companies, and I believe that they're the only full line measuring tool company that's still both headquartered and manufactured in the US. Anyway, their old tools were generally housed in little wooden boxes. I just bought this old depth micrometer for about a quarter of the price of a new one. It's in absolutely perfect working condition. It's got the 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 inch rods still encased in their little protective wax covering, and it's in the original box. The box, though, well, pretty sad shape. Cigarette burns, dings, and so on. Now, generally, I don't care about this sort of thing, but just for the fun of it, I thought I'd spiff it up. I'll begin by disassembling it. The hinges and clasp are all attached with dinky little wood screws. Simple to get them out. I've found, given the general state of chaos in my shop, that it's always good when I take things apart to put all the little pieces into a plastic bag. Otherwise, if I have 10 screws when I start, I always have 9 when I'm done. Before cleaning things up, I'll mask off the Starrett label so I don't lose evidence of the original box. Now I'll do some rough sanding on my disc sander. You'll notice that I'm taping it on, I guess you'd call the X and the Y axis as I go. This will make sure that the edges line up properly when I reassemble. Anytime you use a disc grinder this way, be careful. You should really only use the side of the disc where it's turning into the table. If you don't know what you're doing, it'll chunk your work across the room. Now obviously I could have done all this by hand by taping a piece of sandpaper to a flat surface if I wanted, but this is way quicker. Once I've got the roughing done, I'll switch to hand sanding. You might notice that there's still evidence of some of the old dings left as I go. Several reasons. First, if you take off too much on the internal surfaces, the hinges won't line up correctly and there'll be a gap. But as far as the external surfaces go, some of the dings were really pretty deep and I didn't want to whittle this thing down to nothing. Also, there's some fasteners on the back, little staples I guess, and if you went too deep there's a danger of grinding their heads off. I wasn't really sure if this would make anything fall apart, but why tempt fate? Why the fourth grader looking jury-rigged sanding block? Doing some home improvement these days, and my real sanding block got swallowed up somewhere inside my house. It'll surface eventually, probably about 3.5 minutes after I buy a new one. But in the meantime, and next I'll try to clean up what naval folks call the bright work. Like I said, I'll try. Turns out all these fittings are steel that's been coated with some kind of cheap brass looking stuff. So I'll just do what I can. In the case of the screws, I'll just sand through the old crud and finish and polish the steel underneath. The hinges, on the other hand, get a more or less futile application of metal polish. Still, they're cleaned up and a little bit better looking than they were before. Finally, I'll finish the wood with boiled linseed oil. I'm choosing linseed oil mostly for the old school feel of this project, not because it's an especially great finish. Just seemed more in the character of this old box. And there we have it. All in all, a fairly pointless project. But this is my shop, and if I can't occasionally come out here and make something for no good reason at all, then I might as well go get a job working for the man. Thanks for watching, guys. If you feel like you got something out of this video, don't forget to subscribe. Also, click on the link to Patreon for a great way to give back to the channel. Plus, check me out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Links in the description. If you want something sharp and pointy, maybe a gift for yourself or one of the cooler people in your life, check out my Tactics Armory website and pick up one of our tactical or outdoor knives. And finally, if you want to learn to make hamones or Japanese swords, check out waltersorrellsblades.com, where you can find videos about how I make hamones, as well as forging, mounting, polishing, and fittings for Japanese swords. Thanks, and see you soon.